Hi, welcome to Beginning Ukulele. Today's lesson we're going to be talking about the vamp in the key of C. It's basically going to get you ready for the upcoming song coming up in the maybe in a couple of tutorials, the song Honolulu Moon. But I wanted to talk about how the vamp works, and it's used throughout music, all kinds of music, pop, contemporary, rock, whatever. It's very popular in jazz, music. The reason why I'm using the example of using the vamp in Hawaiian music is because in Hawaiian music they use very simple basic chords, sevenths and your regular basic chord. The terminology is a little bit more intricate in the other styles of music, especially jazz and even other forms of music, but for understanding it, this is a nice introduction. Now keep in mind, this particular vamp gets you ready for the song Honolulu Moon coming up very shortly, that follows this tutorial. But keep in mind that these chords, this vamp using these chords, are for the key of C. So in other words, in the song Honolulu Moon, it is in the key of C. Okay? So since it's in the key of C, we have to use these chords for the vamp. Okay? Now if the song was in another key, like for instance, we've done Pearly Shells, that's in the key of F. If you notice, if you want to look back on your music sheet, you'll notice the vamp in Pearly Shells is completely different. Follows the same format, but the chords are different because that song Pearly Shells is in the key of F. Today's lesson is for the vamp in the key of C, Honolulu Moon's in the key of C, and we want to keep that in mind. The format for strumming is always the same for this in Hawaiian music. Okay, it may change a little bit depending on what style of music you're playing, and I'm talking about anything other than Hawaiian music. But for our example today, it's always 2-2-4, 2-2-4. Once again, 2 strums, and then 4 strums. Some folks like to go 2 beats, 4 beats, but that might be a little confusing at this point. So let's just go 2 strums, 4 strums. So D7 gets 2 strums, G7 gets 2 strums, C gets 4 strums. Okay? Keep in mind we're going to be using up and down strum as discussed earlier. So in other words, from now on we're only strumming up and down. And I talked about how to do it, how to emphasize on certain things, how to use a technique. If you need to, go back to the tutorial about straight and gallop strums, and it talks about utilizing techniques to best find your style of up and down strum. Okay. Also, don't forget, you're always tapping your foot anytime we're doing a lesson or playing a song, etc. Now, at this time, if you need to, go ahead and do a chord count exercise, and make sure that you can do these chords, and then we're going to play them. You also notice my G7 doesn't have any fingering. You should already know how to play that. Now, if you do not, then you, on your own, you need to go get your music book, look it up, look up your fingering. However, you should be at the point now, or push yourself to memorize the G7 chord, and just memorize all the chords that we have covered so far. Just memorize them already. You have learned techniques on how to memorize them, so you should be at that point. However, if you're not, back it up, and then do your due diligence and go ahead and try to memorize those chords. And then we'll get started in a second. When we start, I'm going to assume you know how to play those chords, and we can do the vamp. Okay, let's check our tuning. I'm assuming you're ready. If you need to get your ukulele, go get that, tune it up, and then we'll check it. We'll start in about a second. Okay, G, C, E, A. Now it should sound pretty close. If not, you need to tune it up with your tuner, and then we'll get started. Okay, I'm assuming you're ready. It's going to be D7, G7, C, 2, 2, and 4. There's no worksheet for this, so if you need to copy that down, go ahead and do that. D7 2 strums, G7 2 strum, C 4 strums. We'll start in about a second. Okay, here we go. Don't forget up and down strum. I'll give a 4 count and we'll start. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Okay, now we're gonna do it one more time. Just a little bit slower. Not too much slower, just a little bit slower. And this time we're gonna do it the same thing what we did 2 times. Okay. Here we go. Starting with the D7. Here's the 4 count. Up and down strum. You know where your strum zone is. Don't forget to tap your foot. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Okay. So you want to try that a few times by yourself. In fact, just keep repeating this, okay? Because it's a fun little vamp. It sounds cool, okay? So just keep repeating, get very comfortable at it. Up and down strum, tapping your foot, and keep in mind you're learning a vamp in the key of C, okay? So at this point, if you get comfortable, you know 2 vamps, and the key of F, which we learned earlier, and now the key of C. Okay, so when you're ready, give a pretty comfortable with the man. Go ahead and move on to the next tutorial, and we shall see you there.